When we last updated Sporting News NFL Power Rankings, the first edition of 2018, the Eagles had just upset the Patriots in Super Bowl 52. A lot has changed since, as blockbuster trades and good spending in NFL free agency have reset the outlook for many teams. Next season, for better or for worse.For teams that have improved significantly and those that have not, there's still the 2018 NFL Draft as a tool to help build their new personnel.For now, with less than 1 month to go before all 32 teams go on the clock. Here is how they stack up against each other in the quest for Super Bowl 53. DT Danny Shelton, DA Adrian Clayburn, CB Jason McCourty, Matt Tobin, WR Cordero Patterson, Air Dion Lewis, CB Malcolm Butler, LT Nate Sauter, RT Cameron Fleming, WR Danny Amendola. The Patriots needed to get stronger against the run and deeper in the pass rush. They also needed a cornerback to replace Butler. Those things happen to boost the defense, while the offense can mitigate the losses of Lewis and Amendola. Sauter's potential replacement likely will come in the draft. Tom Brady and Bill Belichick remain the best bet to return to the Super Bowl. QB Kirk Cousins, DT Sheldon Richardson, WR Kendall Wright, QB Trevor Siemian, G Tom Compton, QB Case Keenum, QB Sam Bradford, QB Teddy Bridgewater, Air Bay Jerick McKinnon, DT Tom Johnson, WR Jarius Wright-Shore. Keenum under former offensive coordinator Pat Shurmur took this team to the NFC title game. But imagine the same offense with Cousins at the controls, plus a big assist from Dalvin Cook. The Vikings swapped right for right in the slot as a sneaky upgrade, too. Richardson piles on the power of the defensive front as a bonus. The NFC runners-up are the new NFC favorites, ILB Demario Davis, CB Patrick Robinson, S. Kurt Coleman, G. German Bushrod, T. Benjamin Watson, QB Tom Savage, S. Kenny Vaccaro, RT Zach Strief. The Saints made it a point to shore up the middle of their defense, and Davis cleaning up against the run and Robinson in the slot between Marcus Lattimore and Ken Crawley will build on last year's playmaking momentum. It's clear they are trying to make one more big run while coach Sean Payton still has QB Drew Brees, CB Marcus Peters, CB Aqib Talib, DT Ndamukong Suh, WR Sammy Watkins. The Rams hype train has been raised to a new level for coach Sean McVay's second season, QB Jared Goff's third and Air Bay Todd Gurley's fourth. With Watkins gone, the focus has shifted to the type of loaded defense that allowed Wade Phillips to help bring a Super Bowl to the Broncos. At this point, however, it's still easier to like the well-rounded teams quarterbacked by Cousins and Brees in the NFC. DeMichael Bennett, DT Halladine Ngata, CB Patrick Robinson, Devin Curry, DT Bo Allen, Air Bay LeGarrette Blount, Trey Burton, Tay Brent. Select. The Eagles didn't take too many hits to their deep, young Super Bowl winning roster, but they lost some power in relation to how the Vikings, Saints and Rams upgraded. There's a question about how much Bennett and Ngata have left for Philly's line rotation. It will be tough to repeat in a suddenly top-heavy conference, but having either QB ball out again will be nice. LG Andrew Norwell, WR Dante Moncrief, CB DJ Hayden, Tay Austin Safarian Jenkins, Tay Nals Paul, WR Allen Robinson, WR Allen Hearns, G Patrick Omame, Tay Mercedes Lewis, CB Aaron Colvin, Pound Paul Posluszny, Air Bay Chris Ivory. The Jaguars got weaker defensively with the Colvin to Hayden downgrade in the slot between Jalen Ramsey and AJ Boye, plus Posluszny's decision to retire. They can be exploited more inside on defense, but their offense got stronger, inside and out, for Blake Bortles. Saxonville can work on a strong sequel season. ILB John Bostic, S. Morgan Burnett, RT Chris Hubbard, S. Mike Mitchell. Through all the noise around Air Bay Le'Veon Bell, the Steelers had their usual limited exposure for free agency. Bostic gives them an option to help fill the big cleats of Ryan Shazier, while the former Packer Burnett, if he can stay healthy, can upgrade the level of playmaking next to Sean Davis. With the clock ticking on Big Ben, the Steelers need a big-time draft. C. Mike Pouncey, T. Virgil Green, K. Caleb Struggies, G. Jalen Watkins, S. Trey Boston, K. Nick Novak. The Chargers already had great momentum after winning 6 of their final 7 games in Anthony Lynn's first season after losing some heartbreakers early. They have the defense, the savvy quarterback and the running game in place to end their 4-year playoff drought, looking like the most complete team in the AFC West with the least transition. G. Brandon Fusco, CB Justin Bethel, DA Adrian Clayburn, Tay Levine Toilolo. The Falcons didn't do much in free agency, but you can bet they will look to bolster both their defensive line and receiving core to boost their playoff window with Matt Ryan and Dan Quinn. So far, they look like the number 2 team in the NFC South with their returning playoff medal, Jimmy Graham, D. Muhammad Wilkerson, C.B. Trammon Williams, W.R. Jordy Nelson, C.B. Demarius Randall, S. Morgan Burnett, Pound Joe Thomas. The Packers' offense will adjust to life after Nelson and Hope Graham can be a little more than a red zone threat for Aaron Rodgers. Wilkerson is a nice addition with Mike Pettini taking over the 3-4 defense. A healthy Rodgers is enough to put the Packers in the wildcard mix, but they need more immediate help in the draft in order to push the Vikings for the division. C.B. Richard Sherman, Air Bay Jerick McKinnon, C. Weston Richburg, G. Jonathan Cooper, Air Bay Carlos Hyde, C.G. Daniel Kilgore. The Niners made their advance move for Jimmy Garoppolo, promptly rewarding him for leading them to 5 consecutive victories to end the 2017 season. Now they have more defensive leadership and offensive explosiveness. The Niners will be the greatest threat to the Rams in the NFC West. DT Dontari Poe, C.B. Ross Cockrell, W.R. Torrey Smith, W.R. Jarius Wright, S. Denoris Searcy, G. Jeremiah Searles, L.G. Andrew Norwell, D.T. Star Lodalale, Air Bay Jonathan Stewart, S. Kurt Coleman, The Charles Johnson, C.B. Darryl Worley. The Panthers have recovered well from some of the players they lost, but with Norwell gone, they're not better overall than they were at the end of last season. The draft will be critical for their offensive line and secondary. R.T. Cameron Fleming, W.R. Allen Hearns, Pound Joe Thomas, W.R. Deion Thompson, F.B. Jamiz Olawale, C.B. Orlando Scandrick. For not having much money under the salary cap, the Cowboys did well in addressing their key offensive needs. With no Ezekiel Elliott's suspension, they're set up for a good rebound season. C.B. Malcolm Butler, Air Bay Dion Lewis, G. Xavier Su'a-Filo, G. Kevin Pomfil, Q.B. Blaine Gabbert, Air Bay DeMarco Murray, W.R. Eric Decker, S. Denoris Searcy, Q.B. Matt Castle. The Titans had to revamp around Marcus Mariota for new offensive coordinator Matt LaFleur, and they needed more defensive pieces for Mike Vrabel and Dean Pease. The Patriot way suited ace GM John Robinson just fine with Butler to round out the secondary and Lewis to bring lightning into the backfield with Derrick Henry. They'll push the Jaguars for the AFC South again. W.R. Sammy Watkins, C.B. Kendall Fuller, I.L.B. Anthony Hitchens, Air Bay Damian Williams, C.B. David Emerson, Q.B. Alex Smith, C.B. Marcus Peters, I.L.B. Derek Johnson, W.R. Albert Wilson, C.B. Terrence Mitchell. The Chiefs are turning the page to Patrick Mahomes, and although there's a lot of buzz surrounding the new offense with Watkins, there will be some growing pains. The defense, however, can be better with the changes in the back seven. Consider Kansas City a strong wildcard player, S. Tyrann Mathieu, G.C. Zach Fulton, C.B. Aaron Colvin, G. Senyo Kelemete, C.B. Jonathan Badamosi, W.R. Sammy Coates, at Chantrell Henderson, I.L.B. Brian Cushing, G. Xavier Su'a-Filo, T.C.J. Fedorowicz. The Texans went away from offensive flash in free agency and got much-needed substance for their line. The secondary was improved right where it needed to be, too, in the middle. A healthy Deshaun Watson combined with a healthy J.J. Watt sets them up for a playoff push. W.R. Michael Crabtree, W.R. John Brown, C. Ryan Jensen, W.R. Mike Wallace, W.R. Jeremy Maclin, C.B. Ladarius Webb. The Ravens yet again have remixed their receiving core with veterans, this time hoping they've found the right possession-speed combination. They still need more help on more fronts to be a playoff team again. G. D.J. Fluker, W.R. Jaron Brown, Ted Dixon, D.T. Tom Johnson, D.T. Shamar Stephen, C.B. Richard Sherman, DeMichael Bennett, D.T. Sheldon Richardson, T. Jimmy Graham, W.R. Paul Richardson, G. Luke Jokel, K. Blair Walsh, T. Luke Wilson, Air Bay Thomas Rawls, Air Bay Eddie Lacy. It will be weird to see the Seahawks play without so many familiar names, and so far they simply have plugged holes with lesser options. Russell Wilson now has even more on him than he did last season, but just having him and maybe a legitimate line keeps the Seahawks on the brink of playoff contention. W.R. Allen Robinson, K. Trey Burton, W.R. Taylor Gabriel, K. Cody Parkey, Q.B. Chase Daniel, D. Aaron Lynch, Q.B. Mike Glennon, G. Josh Sidon. The Mitch Unrain. The Bears met their goal of upgrading around Q.B. Mitchell Trubisky, and they also kept their key pieces in the secondary, Kyle Fuller and Prince Amukamara. Matt Nagy's team is on the radar for the next NFC surprise. Pound Devin Kennard, Air Bay LeGarrette Blount, Te Luke Wilson, Te Levine Toilolo, DT Sylvester Williams, Pound Christian Jones, Pound Tahir Whitehead, Te Eric Ebron, C. Travis Swanson. The Lions are going through more defensive transition with Matt Patricia and Paul Pasqualoni, and their offense is looking for more answers away from Matthew Stafford and his talented wide receivers. This is looking like a .500 team at best in a suddenly loaded NFC North. Air Bay Doug Martin, W.R. Jordy Nelson, C.B. Rashawn Melvin, Pound Tahir Whitehead, S. Marcus Gilchrist, W.R. Michael Crabtree, P. Marquette King. New coach John Gruden's early moves have received mixed reactions, especially the Flyers on two offensive players in decline, Martin and Nelson, at the expense of Crabtree. The defense, however, is looking improved for new coordinator Paul Gunter with Melvin and Whitehead in key starting roles. This initially looks like a break-even team before it moves to Vegas. LT Nate Sauter, LG Patrick Omame, ILB Alec Ogletree, Air Bay Jonathan Stewart, WR Cody Latimer, D. Jason Pierre-Paul, C. Weston Richburg, G. Justin Pugh, Pound Devin Kennard, Air Bay Erland Starqua, Air Bay Shane Vereen, WR Tavares King. The Giants did well to solidify the left side of their offensive line and got a much-needed linebacker for their transition to a 3-4 under James Bettcher. Dave Gettleman and Pat Shurmur are off to a decent start in rebooting this team, but big changes in the Odell Beckham Jr. cloud keep them more in a push for .500. D. Jason Pierre-Paul, C. Ryan Jensen, D. Vinnie Curry, D. Bo Allen, DT Mitch Unrain, Air Bay Doug Martin, DT Clinton McDonald, G. Kevin Pomfield. The Bucs have made an obvious effort to get stronger and more powerful on both fronts, something that's been lacking around the big play potential offensively and defensively. They need to become a better running and pass rushing team, and free agency was a great start. It's still hard for Tampa to catch up in the tough NFC South. QB Tyrod Taylor, WR Jarvis Landry, Air Bay Carlos Hyde, RT Chris Hubbard, CB TJ Carey, CB EJ Gaines, CB Demarius Randall, CB Terrence Mitchell, QB Drew Stanton, T. Darren Fells, LT Joe Thomas, DT Danny Shelton, CB Jason McCourty, QB Deshaun Kaiser, Air Bay Isaiah Crowell. In a word, wow. With Josh Gordon coming back, new GM John Dorsey has built the Browns' legitimate defense under Todd Haley to match their budding new defense. They will have a lot more than 0 wins in 2018. QB Case Keenum, Jared Veldheer, DT Clinton McDonald, CB Aqib Talib, QB Trevor Siemian. The Broncos got themselves out of desperation at quarterback with Keenum, but they need to do more to restore their defensive and running game strengths before the offseason is done. This is a critical draft for John Elway to get right. QB Alex Smith, WR Paul Richardson, CB Orlando Scandrick, QB Kirk Cousins, CB Bashad Breeland, CB Kendall Fuller, OLB Trent Murphy, WR Terrell Pryor Sr., WR Ryan Grant, C. Spencer Long, G. Sean Lauval, S. Suwak Ravens. This has been a brutal offseason for the Redskins. Offensively, their QB swap is a downgrade. No, really, it is, and their Richardson signing was a reach. Defensively, they took a couple big secondary hits and another costly one at the second level. This is looking like the worst team in the NFC East. LG Josh Sidon, C. Daniel Kilgore, Air Bay Frank Gore, WR Danny Amendola, The Robert Quinn, WR Albert Wilson, QB Brock Osweiler, WR Jarvis Landry, DT Mao Kong Su, C. Mike Ponce, QB Jay Cutler, Tay Julius Thomas. It's been a weird stretch of time for the Dolphins, as they've moved on from some big contributors and have tried to make up for it with volume. The problem is there's a lot of age and overrated production in the players they have acquired. Miami better hope Ryan Tannehill returns healthy for a solid season. DT Star Lodalele, QB AJ McCarron, OLB Trent Murphy, C. Russell Bodine, Air Bay Chris Ivory, RT Marshall Newhouse, QB Tyrod Taylor, LT Cordy Glenn, C. Eric Wood, Pound Preston Brown. Lodalele and Murphy are good additions to Sean McDermott's front seven, but the offensive line was downgraded by the Glenn trade and Wood retirement. McCarron is not certain to replace Taylor and start over a rookie QB. For now, Buffalo is not a wildcard team. LT Cordy Glenn, DT Chris Baker, Pound Preston Brown, QB Matt Barkley, QB AJ McCarron, CB Adam Jones, C. Russell Bodine, RT Andre Smith. Glenn was a much-needed option for the offensive line, and the addition of him allows the Bengals to focus on the interior in the draft. Baker and Brown are solid pickups for the defense. The Bengals still don't look good in relation to the rest of the AFC North, especially with the Browns' bigger offseason. QB Sam Bradford, G. Justin Pugh, QB Mike Glennon, RT Andre Smith, Airbay Adrian Peterson, S. Tyrann Mathieu, RT Jared Veld. Here the Cardinals are starting over at QB, and their offensive and defensive schemes are being overhauled with Steelix and Mike McCoy. The offensive line is looking up, but given the strength of the rest of the NFC West, it looks like a rough 2018 ahead in Arizona. WR Ryan Grant, G. Matt Slauson, Tarik Ebron, CB Rashawn Melvin, Airbay Frank Gore, WR Dante Moncrief, ILB John Bostic. The Colts have been conspicuously void of big splashes in NFL free agency, as GM Chris Ballard, despite his team's massive salary cap space, is thinking more about the draft for the first year with Frank Reich. It's a good approach for the long term, but other than Andrew Luck's return, it won't play out as well in the short term. QB Teddy Bridgewater, ILB Avery Williamson, CB Trumaine Johnson, Airbay Isaiah Crowell, Airbay Thomas Rawls, C. Spencer Long, WR Terrell Pryor Sr., K. Cairo Santos, Airbay Matt Forte, De Muhammad Wilkerson, ILB Demario Davis, K. Chandler Catanzaro. The Jets' best get so far is Williamson to replace Davis, but despite the volume of moves, it's hard to get a sense that they've become a better team than they were last year at 5-11. With Josh McCown and Bridgewater as their QB options before they add another in the draft, the Jets have the least upside of all NFL teams.